Whenever the name the Hot Boys are mentioned, the first thing comes to mind is the four-man mega rap group. But in New Orleans, the original meaning comes to mind as well. One who's about his business, don't take a shit from nobody, and always about that life. And although Juvenile was never a part of the actual gang, he was still a hot boy. Juvie is from the Magnolia, but also had ties in the Melpomene as well as the 10th Ward St. Thomas projects. Two areas of the city that not just anybody can roam through, areas with violent reputations. And Juvie's welcoming pass had been in effect years before he was a known rapper. With one hand in the streets and the microphone in the other, Juvie's lyrics were definitely fueled by the life he was living and the lives of real street gangsters around him.
Like Juvenile ran with OGs, like ran with an older crowd. Basically, he was molded by people like Yo Yeah and my Uncle Zoe and them. Like, they was hustlers from the old side. Of course, he gonna stick with his side.
No, I'm from the Magnolia, bro. Uptown. You know, that's me. Third wall for life.
No matter what place, crowd, or circle of people, real is real in any setting, and it always comes out, which is highly noticeable whenever Juvenile is in the building.
Juvie ain't think I'm chillin'. I'm a dog about mine.
He's shown he's bout that life in the public's eye on several occasions and started one of the biggest Cash Money campaigns during the denial of his share of the pie from the label's officials. He's a product of the NO's worst eras and is one of the last to survive them. The violent times of the Scully and Metz era, the 1990 homicide record-setting era, and the Cash Money industry takeover era. Juvenile was there and relevant in every one.
I'm Juvenile.
By the time Cash Money Records were in position as the world's biggest rap label, Juvie was recognized as the label's biggest rap artist, a position he earned through pure talent and having such stories that painted raw images of hood life for anyone who was listening. With the assistance of Manny Fresh and the backing of the world's most respected label, Juvie couldn't lose and even stayed relevant for years after he started his own record company. 12 studio albums, 3 compilation albums, 2 collaborative albums, 7 mixtapes, and a slew of singles all make up the foundation that sustains Juvenile's legacy in the industry.
We are some of the originators with a couple of other people like Jubilee, you know what I'm saying, T.T. Tucker, UNLV, all those cats originated with us back in the beginning of the game. Lil Slim, you know what I'm saying, Miss T.
With the start of New Orleans' musical independence, there were a handful of rappers who carried the torch through the different sounds as they changed over the years. Out of that few stood a one-man army by the name of Terrius Gray, better known to us all as Juvenile. Juvie got his hip-hop start in the early 1990s and had been rocking parties in small venues years before he had an album out. In 1991, Juvie would be simultaneously heard by thousands of people across the city as a feature on DJ Jimmy's single titled It's Jimmy.
Bounce for the juvenile, bounce for the juvenile, bounce trick, bounce, bounce, bounce.
Aside from his bounce roots, Juvie is a powerful writer and talented artist, and was one of the first rappers in the city to mix a melodic flow within his rhyming pattern.
You know, Juve rhyming the pattern. Like, Juve be like, burglar, heard of you, such a nerd in my hands and learn. You know his rhyming pattern.
And although he was ready for the world on a much higher level, the city was demanding more bounce, and in 1993, Juvenile obliged with the release of his single, Bounce for the Juvenile.
You messing with Mr. Juvenile, you messing with Mr. Juvie. You messing with Mr. Juvenile, you messing with Mr. Juvie.
The song helped popularize bounce music and became a local classic, but Juvie had way more in store, and in 1995 signed with Warlock Records, where they released his debut album titled Being Myself.
Rolling through that, know you got that one strap. Cruising in the rock, rental with a bill on my lap.
The album didn't receive much national attention and didn't chart on any billboards, but it did get the attention of the Cash Money giants, the Williams brothers. With the momentum from the release of his previous album, Cash Money decided to keep his buzz going and put him in the studio with the legendary Manny Fresh. The Williams brothers' plan to take over the game had began, and in 1995 they shit up the world with the release of Juvenile's second studio album titled Soldier Rag.
Do you take care of your kids? Is it clean in your crib? Can't just stand these some ribs? Ain't it scandalous how we live?
It was very few times that song was played and there wasn't a fight. It was the first time Juvie and Manny would work together and was the first time they made history, but it wasn't the last. Soldier Rag was Juvie's exit from the local bounce sound and into the mainstream rap feed, and saw some national success as Soldier Rag charted on the Billboard's Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart. Juvenile joined Cash Money Records as a solo artist, but the genius of the Williams brothers demanded more, and through their vision gave birth to a 4-man rap group that took on the moniker of a real New Orleans street crew called the Hot Boys.
Original hot boy, me Sterling the Dooley, this dude.
million-yard visit, gangsta and tuna.
Gangsta, Dooney, Sterling, and Mosquito made up the original notorious Central City-based crew, but Juvenile, Turk, Lil Wayne, and BG would carry out the lifestyle of the original Hot Boys through rap, and they'd made millions with it.
Now you run into your family and you pause for help. Look, you invented some beef, you can't avoid yourself.
The Hot Boys set records, sold out stadiums, and ultimately became rap's biggest movement from its start to its prime. And although Juvie was a hot boy, he was still the label's most demanded artist at the time. So after their debut album release as a group titled Get It How You Live, they immediately followed up with Juvenile's 400 Degrees album release, which was Juvie's as well as the label's breakout album to the masses after receiving extensive backing from Universal Records.
Juvenile hit big, like Han did. Like, that's platinum, and that was a different status for New Orleans 4 Hours Entertainment when Juvenile hit with Han.
You on a 3-day flight, huh? You full of that diesel line. You ducking them people, huh?
The album's first single, Huh, and later Back That Ass Up, both became household songs, charting on the Billboard Hot 100 and the Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart. The album was soon certified 4 times platinum and is still Juvie's biggest selling album to date.
It ain't no shit. This me.
After the success of 400 Degrees, Juvenile found himself in a court battle with the local bounce legend DJ Jubilee over the rights to the song Back That Ass Up. Jubilee won the case, and because Juvenile wrote the song, he was sued and not cash money. Sources say Jubilee took in right at $2 million from winning his case. Regardless, the album sold 4 million plus units and made Juvie and Cash Money Records household names. In 1998, Cash Money Records released a remixed version of Juvenile's first album, Being Myself, and re-released Soldier Rag as a single, which opened the door to the Hot Boys' second album as a group but first national attempt.
These Hot Boys back at it again, you heard me? Oh, in this guerrilla warfare time.
The album Guerrilla Warfare was released in 1999 and was a major success, weighing in at certified platinum.
Them Hot Boys come and please somebody. Stay on fire, they gon' burn it.
Even after the major success of the Hot Boys, Juvie's solo ventures kept coming and they all reached platinum status. The G Code in 1999, which went certified double platinum, and Project English in 2001, which went certified platinum. After major disagreements between himself and the Birdman, Juvie left the label, where he followed up with a few ventures of his own.
Whack, Juvenile, skip.
He partnered up with the Houston-based giant Jay Prince and was able to launch his own label called UTP Records. The label's most notable song was a single titled Know Ya Clap, which was performed by the Magnolia Zone. Wacko.
Catching that know ya, had you running down the driveway.
Know Ya Clap brung major success to the label and proved that Juvie could be successful on his own.
Juvie like really took his money, his own money, you know what I'm saying, and really built UTP. Man, Skip was the first artist his own now, you know what I'm saying. A lot of people don't know that Young Buck with G-Unit come from us, you know what I'm saying. They don't really know about that era, you know, but it was me, Skip, Juvie, and Young Buck, you know what I'm saying. And Chorus C. That was UTP, man, when it first begun.
Like every hot boy in the group, Juvenile was experiencing some type of life hardship, a harsh reality placed on his own life by the hand of himself. And for Juvenile, it was the consistency of arrests. At the start of 2000, he was arrested in Mandeville, Louisiana, charged with 5 counts of aggravated assault and 3 counts of simple battery after an altercation with several women that took place at his house. In 2001, he was arrested in Miami for smashing a champagne bottle over a man's head during a fight at the Improv Comedy Club in Coconut Grove. He was arrested again in 2002 after assaulting his barber over bootlegging his music, and once again in 2003 on drug charges. On February 25, 2010, he was arrested in Arabia, Louisiana on misdemeanor charges of marijuana possession and once again for disorderly conduct for his role in a brawl that took place in another Miami nightclub.
Juvenile was arrested for disorderly conduct at a Miami hotel last night after allegedly getting into a fight.
He was also arrested several times for child support matters, in total making his arrest record just as long as his discography. In 2019, Juvie has resurfaced with his original label and dropped a collaborative album with the Birdman titled Just Another Gangster.
I see a nigga have it felt like I was 16. I can't believe it's really happened, it was just dreams.
From the bounce scene to the mainstream, Juvie stood the test of time and have evolved into an OG in the game.
Representing the city of New Orleans, I'm talking about Club Juvie's. It's going down in a major way tonight. The big celebration going down.
Y'all know what this is. This your boy Juvenile Nino, and y'all know I need it in my life.
This is the annual Juvenile season party. It's popping off. Y'all on stage right now. We got cool sponsoring us, so it's popping like that tonight.
night. Juve the motherfucking great.
If you use FanDuel, give me 15 seconds of your time, just 15 seconds. Yesterday I posted a video that I used the parlay guides with the Buccaneers game, the one about